Alrighty, let's get started on the second lesson in our factoring unit. For the do now today, we are going to divide the terms using the quotient rule. If you remember, the quotient rule says we divide the coefficients, which are those big numbers, and we subtract the exponents. So what is 4 divided by 8? That would just be 0.5 or 1/2. Then we have x, and we subtract the exponent. 7 minus 3 is 4. So our answer is either this or 0.5 x to the fourth. Either one works. All right, let's look at the next one. 16 divided by 20. That gives us 0.8, or you can say 4/5, doesn't matter. Then we subtract our exponents. What is 1 minus 3? That would be x to the negative 2 power. Now, we never want a negative power on top, so we're always going to bring it to the bottom. So we would leave the 4 on top because that has a positive exponent of 1. We would leave the 5 on the bottom because that has a positive exponent, but we're going to bring that x to negative 2 to the bottom, making it positive. All right, next one, 18 divided by 3. That comes out to a nice 6. Then we have x to the fourth divided by x to the eighth. We subtract those exponents. 4 minus 8 is negative 4. And then y2 minus 5 is negative 3. Now remember, we don't like negative exponents, so we bring them to the bottom. Leave this 6 on top because that has a positive 1 exponent. And then make it x to the positive 4, y to the positive 3. All right, let's look at this next one. 6 divided by 8. That would be 0.75 or 3/4. Then we have x to the fifth divided by x to the first, making it just x to the fourth because 5 minus 1 is 4. Then y2 minus 3 is negative 1. And we're going to bring that one to the bottom. So 3/4 will stay exactly how it is. X to the fourth can stay on the top because it's positive. But y to the 1 has to go on the bottom because we want to make it a positive 1, not a negative. Alrighty. So today we now know how to find the GCF of terms, and now we're going to learn how to factor them out. So let's look at this rapid Regents review. Okay, this is distributive property. We're distributing this 3x. What is 3x times 6x squared? 3 times 6 is 18. Then we'll have x. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then 3x times negative 3x is negative 9x squared. And then 3x times 9, 3 times 9 is 27. And then just leave the x. So our answer would be choice 3. Now the question that I have for you, how can we take that answer choice that we just got and go back to the problem? So this is our answer, and now we want to factor it and go backwards. We don't want to multiply no more, we want to do the opposite. So in order to do that, we are going to use our GCF. What we do first is we ask ourselves, what number can I take out of 18, 9, and 27? Here my GCF would be 3. And then I have an x to the third, x squared, x to the first. Choose the smallest exponent, x to the first. Meaning my GCF is 3x to the first. Now I take that answer that I have, and I'm going to divide each term by my GCF. Each term is going to get divided by 3x to the first, 3x to the first, 3x to the first. I write what I divided by on the outside, and then the answer I get divided from dividing goes in parentheses. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Then x, 3 minus 1 is 2. Minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. X to the first. And then 27 divided by 3 is 9. And we won't have no x's. And guess what? We ended up with our original problem. So in past units, we were learning how to multiply. Now we're going to learn how to factor, which lets us do the opposite. So steps for factoring by the GCF. First step is to look at the coefficients and decide what our GCF is for the coefficients. So if I have 4, 16, 8, and 12, our GCF would be 4. 4 is the biggest number that I can divide evenly into each of those coefficients. Then I look at the variables. I have x to the fourth, x to the third, x squared, and x. I look for the one with the least exponent, which would be x to the first. Now that I know that my GCF is 4x, I'm going to divide 4x by each term in that polynomial. And that is the result I get after dividing. Because 4 divided by 4 is 1. X to the fourth divided by x to the first, subtract the exponents. Negative 16 divided by 4 is 4. Then x to the third divided by x to the first, 3 minus 1 is 2. Then 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then we have x squared divided by x to the first, subtract the exponents, 3 minus 1 is 1. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3, and the x's go away. Now you write your GCF on the outside, and inside parentheses you write the result you got after dividing each term by the GCF. And you will be left with the factored form. If you wanted to check that your factored form is correct, you could just distribute out the GCF and make sure you end up with your original answer. And that shows that here. Can you check it? Yes, just multiply the factored form and you should get the original polynomial. So here we were distributing the 4x, and that ends up matching the original polynomial. Alright, let's get into some practice. First, we have to find our GCF here. Well, my smallest number is 6, and they actually both divide by 6, so my GCF here would be 6. It would not be 6x though, because they both don't have a 6. So now I'm going to divide each thing by my GCF. I write my GCF on the outside, and the answer I got from dividing will go on the inside. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Leave the x alone. Then put the minus. 18 divided by 6 is 3. And we are done. If you multiply this out, you could end up with your original answer. Let's look at this next one. We have to find what our GCF is. Look at the smallest number, 2. 2 actually divides by both of these evenly, so that could work. Then we have x to the third and x to the first. The smallest exponent is the 1, so x to the first. Now we divide each thing here by our GCF. So on the outside we will have 2x to the first. Inside the parentheses we will have what we got from dividing. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then we'll have x. 3 minus 1 is 2. Bring down the minus. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And the x's would go away because 1 minus 1 is 0. They go away. You technically don't have to write any of the ones because those are already understood, but it's fine if you do. But on a multiple choice, you'll see this answer as 2x, x squared minus 3. Both of these answers are perfectly correct. Alright, let's look at this next one. GCF here, my smallest number is 24. Let me write down my factors of 24. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Does 32 divided by 24? Nope. 32 divided by 12? Nope. 32 divided by 8? I think that works. Let me just double check. Hey, that works. So my GCF would be 8. And now they both don't have an x, they both don't have a y, so my GCF is just 8. Write the GCF on the outside. Now 24 divided by 8 is 3. Leave the x squared alone. 32 divided by 8 is 4. Leave the y alone. And that is fully factored form. There's not another number that we could take out of 3 or 4. Now let's look at this last one. My smallest number is 10. The factors of 10 are 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. And 10 does not go in evenly to 15, but 5 does, so 5 is my GCF. The smallest x I have is the x to the first. The smallest y I have is the y to the second. Alright, so my GCF is 5xy squared. And what do we get when you divide? 15 divided by 5 is 3. Then we have x. 2 minus 1 is 1, so just x. Then 3 minus 2 is 1, so just y. Plus 10 divided by 5 is 2. X's would cancel because 1 minus 1 is 0, and 2 minus 2 would cancel, so the y's would cancel. So this is what we would be left with. Alright, let's try this individual practice. I want you guys to pause this video and try this. Alright, what is our GCF of 5 and 30? 5 actually works. And we wouldn't have a y because both things don't have a y. So it would just be 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so we'd just be left with y. Negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. Alright, let's look at the next one. 15. 15 actually divides by both things, so that works. And then we have an x to the first and an x squared, so our GCF would be the x. Put the GCF on the outside, 15x. Then 15 divided by 15 is 1. And x divided by x, they would go away. You cannot just write nothing. They don't cancel out to nothing. They cancel out to 1. Minus 30 divided by 15 is 2. And we have an x squared divided by x to the first, which would just leave us with x. This is not really standard form because we don't like that the constant is not last, so I'm going to switch it so it looks like this. And you could always double check. 15x times negative 2x is negative 30x squared. And 15x times 1 is 15x, which is the same thing as this, just written in standard form. Let's look at this one. My smallest number here is 12. Let me write down my factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay, 27 does not divide by 12. 27 does not divide by 6, not by 4, but 3 does work. So my GCF is 3. It's not going to have an A or a B in it because both terms don't have an A or a B in it. 27 divided by 3 is 9. Leave A to the third. Minus 12 divided by 3 is 4. Leave B squared. And this next one, what is the GCF of 2 and 4? Well, 2 does divide evenly by both things. Then we have an x squared and an x to the first, so just x. And then we have a y to the third and a y squared, so just y squared. 2 divided by 2. First, let's write our GCF on the outside. 2 divided by 2 is 1. x2 divided by x1 is just x. y3 divided by y squared is just y. Then minus 4 divided by 2 is 2. x1 divided by x1 would just be no x's, and y squared divided by y squared would just be no y's because 2 minus 2 is 0. And now the only way they can make this harder is by making it a trinomial where you see 3 terms. So let's look here. We have to think of what is the GCF of 6, 8, and 2. My smallest number is 2, and 2 does divide evenly by each of these things. Then I have an x to the third, x squared, and x to the first. So the smallest one would be x to the first. So now write our GCF on the outside, and in parentheses we're going to put what we could get from dividing. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Then we have x. 3 minus 1 is 2. Then negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. We have an x squared divided by x to the first. Subtract the x1. It's 2 minus 1 is 1. And then 2 divided by 2 is 1. And x to the first divided by x to the first would be x to the 0, which just equals 1. And let's look at this. My smallest number here is 6. The factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So I'm going to try to do 15 divided by 6. That doesn't work. Okay. Does 15 divide by 3? Hey, that works. And 9 divides by 3. That works. So my GCF is definitely going to be 3. And then my smallest x1 is a squared. A squared, a squared. So my GCF is 3a squared. And now what do I get when dividing? 6 divided by 3 is 2. A squared divided by a squared just cancels out. Then negative 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. A to the fifth divided by a squared, we subtract those exponents, leaving us with a to the third. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 7 minus 2 is 5. A to the fifth. Now we want to write this in standard form. It looks better. So our biggest exponent is 3a to the fifth. Then the next one would be negative 5a to the third. And you leave the constant, the plain number, at the end. Alright, now I want you guys to try the next two. Actually pause the video and try these. So what are our factors of 10, 40, and 50? It would be 10. We wouldn't have an x because all things don't have an x here. 10 divided by 10 is 1. Then we bring down the x squared. Negative 40 divided by 10 is negative 4. Bring down the x. Negative 50 divided by 10 is negative 5. That is all. And this one, we could take out a negative since all things are negative. 10's not going to work, but 5 can. And then I could take out the y squared since that's the smallest thing. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is 2. The y squares go away. Then negative 15 divided by negative 5 is positive 3. And then y3 divided by y2 would just leave us with y1. Negative 20 divided by negative 5 is positive 4. Then y to the 4th divided by y squared, subtract the exponent, 4 minus 2 is 2. Alright, so we'd have negative 5y squared. Put the exponents in order from least to greatest, so we'd have 4y squared plus 3y. You don't have to write the 1 plus 2. And that sums up our lesson on factoring by GCF.